Dr. Wood, author of the book Miracles in Minutes, and this video is entitled Good Person, Bad Person. So, let's talk about a couple of little things. A lot of people in the world have been taught something called conditional love, and they live in the either or matrix. You're good or bad, and it's always measuring, okay, weighing someone on the scales, including yourself. The problem with this way of thinking is that it causes people not to like themselves and to love themselves. And because any mistake that a person makes, that's chalked up as, well, that's what a bad person does. Okay? And if you got a record, okay, like a police record of a wrong, a lot of people won't forget it. So they won't forgive you for it. But the biggest unforgiver is yourself. See, it all goes into, are you a good person or a bad person? So let's take the conversation back to something simpler. A child's born into the world. The child has not done anything yet, good or bad. What do we do with the child? Well, you love the child. Why? Why do you love the child? Because they're here. No other reason. Just because. If I asked you, why do you want me to love you? No reason. Just because. But the problem with that is that's unconditional love. What most people are practicing is conditional love. See, I'll love you if you graduate college. I'll love you if you're good looking. I'll love you if you have a nice body. I'll love you if and when you become a millionaire. I love you because, and all that stuff starts to weigh, am I good enough yet? Am I worthy enough yet to finally be accepted and loved? And usually the answer is no. So what people are really great at doing, though, is giving. And when I give, I feel great, man. It feels good to give. Okay? So people are very good usually at giving and being kind to other people. What the hard thing to do is for them to receive love back. But you can't receive love back if you've judged yourself, condemned yourself in your own mind of not being a good person. See, this is what you keep talking to yourself. You need to write some of those things down that you're saying to yourself. And what happens is you're measuring yourself all the time of a standard to be accepted, to be loved. See, there is no standard. You just love people, period. It's called unconditional love. But you can't do that until you love yourself unconditionally, period. Not for what you do, not for what you have, not for what you look like, not for where you live, not for your social status, not for who you know, not for how many people love you. See, you can have 300 people who say they love you, but if you can't accept gifts or love because you judge yourself as unlovable, it doesn't matter if 300 people love you. It's like you're hungry and you're starving and you need to eat, but you won't open your mouth. No matter how hungry you are, you deemed yourself not worthy of food. Therefore, you can't eat. So it all gets into an ego. See, the false self, who you're pretending to be. I am worthy of love, so I'll pretend I'm this type of person. But underneath of it's this other person who's judging you. And then there's the real you underneath, who's this wonderful creature. But this judge here has got it all, everyone all mixed up. I've dated a few people who, at one time I was that person too. I was only worthy of love if I achieved certain things, if I had certain status, if I had a, social economic status, then I'm worthy of love. And you're always judging yourself. It can lead to suicidal thoughts because you always feel distant and not connected. Even though you're with people and you're with them, you don't, when they love you, you receive the love in your head. You don't receive it in your heart. See, a lot of people are loving each other with their heads. No, I love you. Where'd you say that from? Oh, my head. Because we won't open our heart to receive love because we're afraid to look inside. So part of this video is from a conversation I had just recently with someone, and it was, you know, I love them, I care about them, and they're having a hard time loving themselves right now. And I have dated some girls who, no matter how much you love them, they can't accept the compliment. That makes it hard to be in a relation. Like, I love you. Ooh, I feel uncomfortable. I don't deserve the love. Why not? Because, and there's always a reason. See, true love has no reason to love you. It just loves you just because. No reason at all. And that's the way God intended it, to love us unconditionally. And our forgiveness is unconditional as well. So when we start putting conditions and pretenses on everything, you never feel loved. And you always feel isolated, and you're always alone, even though when you're with people. You never really connect with other people. You first have to get connected with yourself first, and to love yourself unconditionally. No reason at all. My journey was when my marriage ended and I had nothing, I was kind of suicidal. I wasn't feeling really good about myself. Everything I had was gone. And then I heard a little voice inside said if I was, you know, paralyzed and in the hospital, would my kids still want me here and value me? And the answer was yes. Would they, even though I couldn't pay for anything, you know, if you're paralyzed, you can't work, you can't do anything. You feel like a burden upon your family. But it wasn't about being a burden. It's whether or not they would want me here just because I'm here. The spiritual being love me anyway. And the answer was, yeah, they would. They would want me here. Even though I couldn't pay for anything, even though I couldn't do anything for them, even though I couldn't do anything for them. So one of the problems is a lot of people deem their love worthy of love, or they get a sense of pride from giving because they can do things for other people. But love's a two-way street. You give, and you also have to be able to receive. See, to receive, though, sometimes that makes you feel vulnerable and humble. You feel kind of awkward. Let me put you in front of a crowd, okay, and put you out there in front of everybody and acknowledge you for being a great person. Guess what? A lot of people feel awkward with a compliment. They have no problem giving compliments to other people. They have a hard time receiving compliments for themselves. So you need to look at that. And it's the context is, are you in the either or world, good person, bad person? You're just a person. There's no good or bad people. There's bad behavior, but you're not your behavior. There's bad thinking, but you're not your thoughts. There's bad feelings, but you're not your feelings. So once you start to create a distinction that you're not what you think and you're not what you feel, not what you do, that really you're loved anyway. And you are worthy of love just because you are. And that's the way it was always meant to be. So when you start to understand that, if you can unconditionally love yourself, you can finally truly love and care for another human being. But if you only love yourself through conditions, you'll love someone else in the exact same context. You'll love them if, you'll love them when, and you love them because. And that love is fleeting, and it creates a very insecure relationship. So it's Dr. Wood. I hope this helps you guys out. Good person, bad person, and all of its bullshit, which there is no such thing. But we were conditioned to believe so. I'm not saying there's not people who have very bad behaviors, and some people need to be locked up. Some of them do. They're called sociopaths because they have no care and concern for everybody else. But what can we do? What gets people to become sociopaths is because of stinking thinking that they never believe they're worthy of love, and they feel alone and isolated. And so now they're going to exact revenge on the world. But they never had to anyway, because they're always loved, but they just didn't know it. Dr. Wood, have a good one.